Okay, welcome to the Christmas tree. This is the Vertex painting. I know this is the second video. I'm learning more, trying different things, faster workflows. I'll explain a little bit what's going on overall here. Okay, fairway. Green is my cleanup cut right now. So that's going to be what meets the outer blend. Right now, it's not really that important just because there's no striping or anything, and maybe there won't be striping in our fairway, but I put it in place just in case there was, so that's our cleanup cut. I manually put in dots of blue. That would be our divot. And black, I just recently started adding. I haven't even changed the texture in Unity too much, but I thought that would just it'd be a nice splotchy look. You know, a lot of times you see dark patches of a different grass or heaven forbid a weed or something that grows in, or just different tones. So if we weren't doing sat shader, I was kind of liking the way that could take the place of that. The rough is just all random vert paint. Green is the drier patchy. It's a little darker dry patch than was around the bunkers. Blue is thick. Blue is used, it's the same texture, same appearance, but draws a different 3DG, a thicker version. So you can see some of the areas in here where I've done subdivides in places where I think it's more likely the golfer might end up and might see it, because if I subdivided everything, it'd be a stupid, crazy try count. But in there, and it's all I just do that before I do the random. It's all just using the random bird paint. And then I'm just selecting edges. If you look at the edges, this is where it connects to, where it connects to the prairie grass. I'm also using that in the rough as a green border. So in most places, green is my cleanup or my border blend, because there's no blend shape between custom and rough. It doesn't generate one. That's fine. I actually kind of like it that way. I'd like a thicker blend anyway, a slower transition from rough to grass. So if you look at the attributes there, it's green on the outside of the rough and green on the inside of the custom. So it's green to green, and that is that darker but patchy grass. Then if you look around the bunkers, we've got two different, we've been dividing our blend shapes into two different blend shapes now. So the back blend shape is the one that's going to play as physics deep rough, and this is the physics regular rough. These are the same material. It's just the bunker edge material. And the red vert color matches the red of the rough. So everywhere the rough touches the blend, it's going to be a red vertex color. And same with wherever the blend bunker edge material touches, it's going to be red. The green, that is going to be our dry, a lighter colored, dry, patchy, sandy rough. And black is the same texture, but just a tiny bit darker, just to give that shadow lip. So the black on the blend blends into and this is an overhang lip, so it's a little hard to see, blends into the red lip color, which is your regular setup for bunkers. Green for our dry vertical edge, blue for our darker, whether it's wet or just raked bottom. You can see on this one, I actually drew in some extra lip color just to make it look like there's a little more just growth. Maybe there's just some grass patchiness coming into the bunker. All right, so then the back blend, that's the same as this for material, but you'll see there's not any red, because the red vertex color is regular rough. So in here, blue blends into the custom. So you can see the custom has patches of this blue, which is a dark patchy grass. It's kind of a long fescue colored grass. Let's see, I can go in here. So if you look, it's this right here. That's the blue. It's just a darker variant. And you can see, let's see, where's our bunker? So right here you can see that it's just a little bit right here, but that's what's blending in here. Down into the bunker. Back. Okay, so it all has, both bunker edge halves have the black bottom. So the black is what blends into the red. I think I already said that. Here I pulled it up a little higher. It just gives more shadow line. So if you want it to look steeper, a steeper area without an overhang, just add a little extra black, not just the bottom line. If you go in here and look, I added just a little bit, not everywhere, not all the way across. I think, again, chaos is key. I think a little splatter of it is better than straight lines of it. That said, I also added some of this light patchy grass. I think I just used the randomize for green on that. You won't see as much of that because that's supposed to be more of a regular rough side blend, but just throwing it in there, it just it gives a little more interest. Let's see. So if I look at, I'm not on the same bunker here, so that's not going to be a one-to-one comparison. So I don't know if you can tell, but there is some light green patchiness as well. So it's just a little more extra stuff. Okay. So how do we do it? How am I doing it fast, or faster than I was before? Let's go into here. Yeah, this one. So this has been shaped. You'll notice that when you do all this custom shaping, it's gonna really screw up your vert paint. It's gonna look like wildness. That's no big deal. Let's do the bunker first. So the way I've been doing things is I've been flooding stuff green. And then what I do is I go in, I don't care how you do it, doesn't matter what view you take, whatever works best to just kind of see the slope. And I just kind of draw in, again, a chaotic flat bunker wherever it looks flattish. Look at it from a couple angles and go, this one's pretty steep, so it's probably dry or not raked all the way up there. It's flatter over on this side, so I'm just, from this view it looks different, I'm gonna go like that. And I'm probably gonna try to stay away from doing that close to the edges. And all right, and then I just go in and I do that as blue. That's my base, and then I'm just going to do a outer lip select. That's going to be my red. That's the last thing I do. All right, now let's go to the blend. So this is my custom blend. This is the prairie grass up here. So this is my prairie grass blend. So that's going to be majority blue. So I'm going to hit that with blue because that's what we want the whole edge to be. Then I'm going to tab out, I'm going to do a fill of green. Right now it's at 15. Let's see what it looks like. Whoops, wrong button. Randomly. A little bit of green, and maybe you want to tie it in a little better. Maybe you want to tie some of those patches together. Totally optional. This step is just whatever you want to do. If you think you want to add some lighter dry areas. And then the bottom of this, so only the edge that touches the bunker, again, is always going to be black. So that's going to be our black there. Now we're going to go over to our rough side one, which is going to be majority red, because red is the color we want to. So we're going to flood. Oh, I'm going to select all, red, apply. Okay, so that's what's going to touch our bunker. Now this one, this is going to have the more defined lip on this side. So I'm going to take probably these two, I think, and do as green. That's going to be our dry color. And then you could also just hit this with random. You got to be in object mode. So you could do a random, or you could just hand draw it however you want. Green random, like that. And then of course you can just change things however you want. It looks a little much there. I'm just gonna come in here and I'm just gonna dial it back in some spots. So what I'm selecting is spots where I'm just gonna tone it down. I'm gonna hit it with red. I'm gonna dial back a little bit in spots like that. Make sure that the outer border where it touches the regular rough is always red. So we've got that. And then of course this one, like I said, it's the same as this material. So the inner that touches the bunker is going to be black, like that. So, and if you wanted, again, to make it look a little steeper in areas, it's pretty shallow coming in on this side. But if you wanted to, you could come in and do kind of on the top side. You could just grab a few more. Let's use circle. And I'm just going to grab a couple like that and hit that with black. And that's just going to give us a much steeper appearance. It's a really subtle difference. It's just a little, black is just a slightly darker version of green. So it's a really small change, but I think it just adds some depth, adds some chaos, some areas where it's just not a perfect line. So, and now transitional. So where these two touch, remember this is the same material, so it needs to blend to itself. I would say just pick one of them and just try and match them up. It doesn't matter which side, so I'm looking at the vertex this meets on this other half is red, so that would be red. Same up here, that's going to be red. And you're going to end up with some areas that are not perfect. It's never going to be exactly right. But I think if it's close, it's going to be really hard to notice that. Whoops. Again, here we're going to go green, green. Well, that looks like it's red up there, so I'm going to go green, green there. And the whole thing should be black. Why does it not look black? It is. It's just the angle. This looks red, this looks red, this looks red. So whichever vertex on this shape it's touching color, you just want to match that because they are the same material. So now these two shapes will blend into each other. This one was pretty easy because it's just one kind of consistent surround. I'm going to drop it into Unity quick to show you. Actually, I don't need to. We could go to a different one. All right, let's go in and look. So this has a huge blend shape, and I turned the grass off. I'm going to show you the problems you can get. I have the grass off. If the grass was on, you wouldn't see these problems as much, so I don't know that it's a big deal. Please play around, see if you can figure it out, but it's getting complicated. So I talked in an earlier video about an angle. If there's an angle between shapes, even if the blend is copied in the same, you'll still see it. So right here, I'll have to go in and figure out how I want to clean this up. If you look at this, this is the same. The blend is correct. But if you look at it from the side, you see there's a pretty, it doesn't look like a lot, but there is a sharp, it goes across and then it comes down right where the blend is happening instead of being flat. So that's creating a shadow difference. Even though the slope shader is the same, everything's the same, it's not good on blend areas. It's just not going to be perfect. You can see right here, it's perfect because it's more flat. Here you can start seeing, this is the problem I can't come up with a great answer for. We have three shapes meeting. There's not enough vertex colors for there to be all three vertexes right here to have the same material. So this is the regular rough. This is a bunker blend. This is the prairie grass. So where those three types of shapes meet, it's just not perfect. What I did was I started using just a hint of I created a black paint on the, I don't know which bunker this is. I think it's, I don't even know which one I'm looking at. It might be this one. Nope. Is it this one? This one. I created a black channel on the prairie grass to try and match, because this is a huge blend shape if you look at this. So when we start using these huge blend shapes, if they touch an extended amount of time, if they touch the prairie grass, that's the hard thing to blend right now. If this were to just come off here like this, like if this was all regular rough, if we just, and maybe we need to do this, try and avoid having any of the blends touching both the rough and that. But if this were just regular rough, then we could transition to it. It works because the black channel I created for prairie grass now does match this, but in these corners where there's three touching, there's just not a way to make it perfect because there's just not enough colors for them all to match. So you can see it matches here, it matches here and here, and these match here and here, but right here it's not perfect. So I made it a really small spot. If you look, I added vertexes here so that the area where it meets is only a little tiny area, not a whole long place. You know, I think once grass is added to these, I can even turn it on here and see what it looks like. They don't all have grass. Let's do this. Grass render. All right, I'm gonna pause here while I figure out what's going on with my grass. Okay, you can see it's not ideal. And you know what? Maybe this is something we just fix with GSPro. You just throw some objects on top of it. From far away, you don't see it a ton. This is a pretty unique area where there's a giant blend. Maybe we just avoid that, and GSPro kind of helps cover it up, and we just manage our draw distances, and we manage our 3DG fade distances to kind of coordinate. And so I think that's probably just coverable by objects. I don't know that we can make that perfect, so I'm just not going to worry about it too much. It worked pretty good on this one, but you can see this corner. Here's where the three meet, and that's just pretty much impossible to get that to work. None of these have grass turned on right now, so let's see here. That one does, this one doesn't. On there and on there. And that helps. You can see another thing is using large areas of this dry. And so if you have a large blend and you want a large dry area, it tends to tile. Right now I have it fading out. I just think it looks weird if it's a little too bright all the way out. And just managing where that 3DG comes in and how big a blend shape we have, because you can see the striping. It's a pretty repeating tiled texture. I don't love it, but it looks good up close. And then here's the version of that on just the regular rough. It's a darker version, which I do really like. But I'd like a lighter version next to the bunker. Play around, see what you think. But go back and watch just that one section where I was doing the paint on the two halves and how that's pretty fast now. If you just flood one half, flood the other half, and then just draw in the borders and the randomness, that works pretty quick. That's how I'm doing it. All right. Hey, I'm back. One thing I forgot to talk about, how I'm doing my rough to fairway, fairway to green, and tee type blends. I am doing something, I've always done something special with that too. Let's go in here and look at what I've got. So this is my fairway to rough. I go in here, this is super easy to do. You just jump in. Now usually this is just an outside vertex and an inside vertex. I add a loop, Control R loop. I add one, so you just click, left click, right click, sets it in the center. Then while it's still selected, I change it to blue, okay? Then I reverse these. I do red on the outside and I do black on the fairway side. I wish that they did that by default. I need to mention that to DP about that. Reason is, if you want to add 3DG, you want the red, the first in the 3DG line, to be on the rough side, because you want that to get a 3DG, and you want to paint it off, thus the black on the fairway side. And then the reason I put a blue in the middle is I copy over my main rough texture both to the red and to the blue, and then I take the blue and I make it just a tiny bit darker, and that gives a fake shadow line. So let's take a look at what that looks like. So I've got a 3DG texture on there. It's a two texture, so the same as the red on the rough, and then a slightly shorter one yet, so it kind of fades. And then as you can see, I've taken just the blue. I can show this if I do it this way a little better. All right, so if you look at my blue channel, it's just a little darker than my red channel, so I'll extreme it. So there, that would be too much. It doesn't take much. You just do a little bit, and it gives you kind of that shadow line. And you can also just play with the blend strength on that. So blue blend strength, you can dial it up or down. You don't need much of it, but that gives me, and I did that on Quail Hollow and I did it on Stratus, it gives you that fake a little bit of a fake shadow line. Makes it look like there's a nice definition, and it's not just from up close. You see it a little bit here from far away. So when there's not 3DG to give you that, it gives you that there. I also do the exact same thing on my greens. I don't know that I have this set up correctly right now. I don't have my blend matching right now because I tweaked it. So if you look at this one doesn't have the cleanup cut. Where's 7? 7's done. All right, 7 should look good. Perfect. Okay, so I don't know if you can even tell. Maybe I need to dial it up just a little bit. No, you can see it. Just the hint of a shadow. So if I were to take my green, and I'll show you a little more extreme. So if I go to my blend strength, it should be on blue. I think I did it the same. No, of course not. I did it on green. I think I did green. Oh, that's the green side. Oh, geez, I'm on the wrong texture. Dummy. Okay. Let's try this again. So, yeah, blue, blend strength, blue, color. So you can see there if I dial it up or down. So I'm adding just a little bit of that. So it looks like there's a little lip to the fringe, right? So the green, it doesn't take very much, but it gives you that hint of a grass cut line. So that's why I'm just going in and doing that on my tees. Sorry, my tees, my bunker, or geez, can't talk. Okay, so that's why I'm going in and doing that on all my blend shapes where there's no 3DG especially. So you can see here on my green, again, I've got blue in the middle there. I do it on my tees. I haven't even set up, I did that one as green. I don't know why, but I haven't set up that texture yet. But it'll give that cut line appearance. And then on my, you were wondering about my cart paths. So that's a whole nother ball game. If you look at that, what I've done is I've added a blend. They don't usually come automatically with a blend. Is there a small section I can look at here? How about over here? Okay, that's fine. So I've gone in and I've selected the entire outer perimeter. Sometimes it takes a few shift clicks. And then what I've done is I've used that Control-Shift-R, and it'll pull a new perimeter shape in. You can see I've already done it, so I'm not going to do it again, but that'll... And then I just go back and I grab the perimeter, I make it green, I make the interior black. Reason I'm doing black is because that won't have grass on it. And then if I wanted to add 3DG, I could have 3DG on the outside. Then I'm painting that outside green, and everything it touches, whether it's regular rough or prairie grass, I'm painting all the borders of both of those shapes green. So everywhere you'll see all my rough shapes, whether it's regular rough or prairie grass, all the borders are green, because then that blends to whatever is next to it. The only exception is the regular rough to the fairway, it's a red blend, because that's just the standard default rough. So anywhere it's blending into 3DG or blending into prairie grass, or prairie grass is blending into cart paths, it's all green. Oh, it's a lot, but so far so good. It's working. It's looking pretty good. But there, another long video. But okay, good luck. Feel free to make changes and simplify it if you can come up with better ways. All right, I'm done now. Finally, promise.